G'day guys, thanks for visiting That Journal Guy. My name is Richard and today we're going to be going to do a flip through of my journal for the month of October. And you're going to see how my spreads have changed a little bit so that I can continue to be enabled and try to keep up with my journal within my little Michael's softcover dotted notebook. So I am kind of happy to say that for September, although there have been some hiccups in my journaling month for September, that I managed to fill out all my pages once I had my layout a little bit more refined, and it definitely did make a difference. But October, I've sort of refined it even further, and you might actually think that I'm actually going a little bit minimalistic, but I'm actually just showing you what October looks like right now, more like a before the pen kind of look, before I actually start doing embellishments on it. And I'm hoping that with the added space between each section, that it'll actually give me room to do some embellishing after the fact. So you're gonna see what I mean. It's a little bit kind of obscure to talk about, but when you see it, I think you'll know what I mean. So October is going to be a good month, I think, and I'm looking forward to sharing this with you. Now, if you haven't already, and this is your first time visiting, welcome. I really appreciate you guys checking out a guy's take on journaling. I know there's lots of us out here, but I know that we are in a minority as far as the social media community. There aren't as many guys as there are awesome women that do this wonderful hobby and pastime. So I hope that you will hit subscribe so that you guys will stay in touch with me with when new content is available, and hit the little bell icon so that you're instantly notified when that content is updated. That's my plug today. So anyway, let's go on my tabletop. I'll show you what October is starting to look like, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. So as you can see, we've got actually the supplies that I'm going to be using for October, as well as the end of my September spreads. So it's a little bit different than my actual normal spreads from September. As you can see, you can see the nice little rounded lines and the sections I had for each of my Bujo badges, and then a little section for notes and a brain dump. So I actually changed that up a little bit in the end of the month, because as I bled into October, I wanted to use up a little bit more of some supplies. Now, I am a big stationery nerd, as you know, so I've been collecting all kinds of things from Dollar Tree and Dollarama, Walmart, Michael's, what have you, and I wanted to actually start using up a little bit of more of my supplies. So I actually started using these awesome metallic markers from Dollar Tree. These were $1.25 each. There's a sort of a metallic rose, and then we've got this bronzy color, as well as this metallic blue, which is really nice. So what I wanted to do was start using it up and experiment with using them as part of my journal, and I wasn't quite sure how to use it. So for the end of September and the start of October, I actually started using it as title lines, I guess, just so that I could use them up a little bit. So I used a fat black marker for my titles with a little bit of jelly roll highlighting in the lettering, and then I had my Bujo badges, split up, as well as a little brain dump notes section at the bottom. This also became the section where my weather started getting tracked, as well as little notes that sort of were either plan ahead or something that was that sort of came to mind as the day went on. So as you can sort of see, October did start off well here. There's a few times where I had no time for my Bujo, which was really annoying, but that's just life, that just happens. And then my weather was on the bottom. It looked actually really good. So what I wanted to do was, I still wanted to do a month calendar kind of thing, because I love seeing the month at a glance, but I wasn't quite sure what to track. And something came to mind that actually is really visually stunning for me. And it's not like overly original or anything, but you can sort of see all the dots, like in the first week, minus Sunday and Monday this week here. But you know what these are? These are actually my Bujo badges. So what it is actually a summary of the day, right? So you can sort of see that I earned different badges for spending in my household, my Bujo time, my self-care, my family, my work time, my intake for food, as well as my playtime, my recreational time. And I counted basically every dot for every color and started dotting the thing. So now I've got these little rainbow of dots. And when you see like a lack of dots here, like so on you can see, oh, I mixed it up here. There's a pitfall with trying to keep track of all my dots was that I actually put Saturday's dots on Thursday, so I had to put Thursday's dots here and Friday's dots here. That's why there's an S-A-T-H and F-R there. So, you know, I still make mistakes in my journal, but that's okay. This is how I got around it, and it's perfectly fine. It's just paper, guys. Just turn the page and keep going. So anyway, so my calendar, my month at a glance is actually a Bujo badge tracker. So at a glance, I can sort of see what badges I spent a lot of time on throughout the month. And I think by the end of the month, this is going to look really cool. It's going to be rainbows every single day, I hope. But it also forces me to realize, like, oh, look at that. I'm missing. So this is on Saturday and Friday. I missed my Bujo time altogether. And that's sort of disheartening because I didn't put time in my badge into my journal, and it is actually for spreads like these where I'm trying to remember all the spending I did, all the household stuff, whether or not I missed anything, you know, completely, like Bujo time, I missed it on Friday, Saturday. My self-care days, remembering what I did is actually really tough to do. So I have to make a mindful effort this month to stick with October's spreads so that I can actually keep it up and not feel lost when I do this. So I still have to actually just finish up my Sunday entries, but it's still fresh in my head, so I'm not too worried about that, and then enter the summary of these badges here. So that is the end of the September spreads, but I wanted to sort of minimalize it a little bit more so that it's easier for me to keep up with this. So now what I did for October, as you can sort of see, starting Monday and Tuesday, that's today and tomorrow. I haven't even colored these in yet, and I have to do that right away, but I have given myself a little bit more space where this is like just a few lines. I've actually given myself more lines of space for each Bujo badge section. Why is this important for me this month? Because it gives me room to put the stickers and all this stuff after. So I really want to get back into using my sticker embellishments and stuff like that, but I know that in a system like this, that there isn't a lot of room for it. Like, it really becomes like more minimal and more minimal and more minimal as we go along. And I really want to go back to the roots that got me started when I started in March, and I had my awesome Dollarama journal that I stickered up with Star Wars stuff. I had all these stickers all over the place, and I was writing all around it, and it was really like a diary journal versus it being a bullet journal, and I really loved it, you know, and I miss it. I really do miss it. So I mean, as much as I like doing the embellishments on the bottom as I tried to do earlier in September, this didn't quite have the same feel to it. It just didn't have that same, it felt kind of rigid almost, you know, because I forced myself to really structure my writing and not really have a lot of room for the embellishments anywhere. Like I had to put it on the bottom. It couldn't be up here, it couldn't be there, right? So it was a little bit, it wasn't disappointing. I'm not unhappy with the way this ended up, but I really want to go back to having a layout that's a little bit more flexible and giving me room to still write everything I need to do for a day and still have maybe a sticker or two that sort of blocks the way that I have to write around. But I mean, it just sort of adds a little bit of color and dimension to it. So I have all kinds of stickers that I want to use, and this month I'm not going to stick to just one theme. In fact, what I want to do is, like, for, you know, maybe just even for a couple days or even for a whole week, I might use a type of sticker. I found some really cool Harry Potter stickers the other day. I've got some cool Avengers stickers. I've got really cool geeky kind of things that speak to my geek, right? So this is what October looks like. It doesn't look very exciting at the moment. This is very much a before the pen kind of thing, but I did fill in the Bujo badges almost here. Like, so this is the way it's going to look to start. So I've got my spending, my household, my Bujo time, my self-care time, my family time, my work time, my intake, my eating, and my play. So I don't have a lot of room for notes and quotes and whatever else I want to do for a brain dump, but I figure that what I want to do is actually add those thoughts into each category. And all I'm using is super tip pens, so super tip markers, and these are my tools of my trade, all in the colors. But what's gray doing in there? So I use actually gray for the clouds when it's a partly cloudy day on my weather. So what I want to actually do is if I want to do some planning or some thoughts ahead as far as brain dumping, I think I might brain dump in gray in each of these categories. So if I do see a gray dot in a category, that I'm going to use that as a, oh, that was a note for myself. Either, for spending, it could be maybe just a want list thing. Maybe I see something cool that I really want. I'm going to add that not as a red dot because I didn't spend on it. I just want to plan it and just sort of mention to myself dot, oh, I saw these really cool shoes that I want, or I saw this really cool game that I want, or etc. Same thing with household. Oh, you know what? Bedroom's getting cluttered. Have a gray dot to plan to do that sometime, right? As you can see, I've got a photo shoot actually on Friday the 9th with a couple that wants to do some pictures for their Christmas cards later. So we're going to catch some autumn colors this Friday. I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, this is actually going to be the way October looks for the whole month. And so I've actually pre-lined everything already. I haven't put the little Bujo badges on every week yet, but I'm going to be doing that as the week wears on. And then, as you can see, here's the end here. Now, at the end here, the only tracker that I actually have is a video game log. And so I'm playing Star Wars Battlefront 2 still. I'm probably one of the few that still do. And I'm actually keeping track of character classes and experience points that I earn, as well as levels for each character class. This is the heavy class, which is like a heavy gunner, sniper class, a jetpack class. I've got my infiltrator as well as my enforcer. For you guys that don't play Battlefront, don't worry about that. Those are just classes of characters. These are I use a template for the squares. I'm using this Michael's Artist Loft template to do that, and I'm hand drawing the little icons based on what they look like in the game. So I've also got a video game log for my NHL 20. I've sort of liberated myself from the big chart, and I'm just doing it diary style, so that I've got little dates and scores and stuff like that, as well as injuries that happen, etc. I've also got a Minecraft log that I've started here that I'm going to be keeping track of my Minecraft, as well as another Battlefront tracker for different classes of ships and stuff like that I'll be flying. So yeah, very nerdy and very minimalistic at the moment, but I promise you that by the end of October that this will be full of all kinds of badges that I've hopefully earned throughout the month, and that it will be a good way to track my days in a sort of a Bujo badge diary style kind of thing. You'll notice one big difference is that it's all straight lines. There's no curved lines. I was using the edge of this big stencil. It actually has a wonderful rounded corner, and this was actually what I used to do my rounded corners. I wasn't hand drawing this. I was actually using a rounded corner. You can see there, right? But the problem with this is that it actually made it really tough to do. Like, I had to put time, like a lot of time, into getting all of this set up. And it's really easy to get this set up with just straight lines with a regular ruler. So, like just zip, 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 zip. So I actually minimalized my layout just to make it easier to get into. And believe it or not, the circle in the middle of this ruler is actually the size of my Bujo badges across the way. These are actually the same size. I was actually using the Artist Loft circles in here to do these badges, but the circle on this ruler is the same size. So it's actually, I'm even minimalizing my supplies. So the supplies that you see that I put aside here that I've sort of messed up here, but these are only the supplies that I'm using for the entire month, and minus the stickers, which I'll be adding later. But I find that, like just taking, again, scaling back a little bit more, and just sort of using a layout that's sort of easy to do as well as easy to keep up with is really an enabling and empowering thing to keep up with your journal. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to share some of my test pages in the back here. So I've shown you this at the end of September, like for September when I first started using this journal, that I did all this media testing, using stamps for my titles and such like that, and sort of trying out different media. I also bought a spirograph and I shared that on my Instagram, and it was a huge response as to how exciting it was It was like a childhood memory for a lot of people. It really brought out some inspiration for people, and I haven't incorporated that into October yet. I don't know if I will. I think I might save it for November, but I mean, this is how it's like looking. You know, I'm using off the page kind of style spirals, right? I'm using different colors. These are fine liners, so they do bleed a little bit in this page. You can see there, but I'm thinking that maybe I'm going to use either pencil crayons or gel pens to start incorporating spirograph into my pages. So I don't know if, you know, I'll just do strictly stickers for my thing. I might actually maybe do a few spirograph watermarks, so to speak. This is kind of like the idea that I want, using these sort of muted colors, so that there's obviously a design on the page, but it's like muted so that I can still write over top of it. That's what I'm thinking. I'm using off the page kind of designs here. So what I'm hoping, like what I do is I put a piece of paper off the page, and I put the spiral on the, like as a circle off the page, and I'll just continue the design off the page, and it'll just sort of look like a watermark. But it does catch the edge of the page sometimes, so that was sort of my struggle with it. But it's cool. I tried also coloring one in. It doesn't work as well as just sort of keeping it clean. So I'm going to be keeping spirograph. Like if I'm going to add color to the spirograph, it's going to be just the type of ink that I'll use throughout the design. But you can sort of see some missteps here as the ring popped out, not the ring, but the actual disc that I was following popped out. So I have to keep practicing with it before I'm confident to put it in my spread. But because I have this minimalistic kind of layout to play with, I could easily incorporate that into my October spreads. So there you go, October 2020. I'm hoping that it will be an enabling month for you guys, and whatever situation you happen to be in, I hope the journal sort of keeps you on track and keeps you motivated and helps you get through another wonderful month ahead. So again, this is That Journal Guy, Richard here. I hope you guys enjoyed that flip through. It's very much a before the pen kind of thing, but I will be posting updates of it on my Instagram. So if you haven't checked that out, please check me out on Instagram. And I hope that you guys will stay tuned for more. Again, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video. Have a good one, guys.